I got to admit, my frustration level is about up to here with this 2020 season. At least up to here, if not even higher. Like, this is enough for me. Like, I can't stand it. It's torturous. And I know there are plenty of Bears fans be like, oh, exactly. Know where you're coming from. I understand that feeling because at 7-7, the Bears still have a chance to sneak in the back door, get that 7 seed, and get into the NFL playoffs, get to a wild card game. I can't take it either. Which is exactly in no way, shape, or form what in the Sam hell I'm talking about. Humbug on your asses for thinking like that. The same old type of mediocrity of the McCaskey way mindset that has created a lot of the issues and problems that this organization has now faced for decades, largely of their own doing. Like, coming off of last week's win over Minnesota, you got all these Bears fans sitting there and acting all giggly tits that this team that just got done losing 6 in a row all of a sudden beat a really bad Houston Texans team and came back the next week and beat a bad Minnesota Vikings defense that was depleted by injuries. And all of a sudden now you got Bears fans celebrating because this team is 7-7. Talking about how Mitch is the guy. You got dumb dicks on Twitter trying to point to career win percentage to prove that Mitchell Trubisky's not a bust. Like, this is the stuff that I've had it up to hear about. This is not only bad enough that every win that this stupid team gets the rest of this year increases the chances that numbskull Nagy, pissant Pace, and waste of space Ted Phillips are still with this organization. It also screws up their chances in terms of draft positioning, which makes the odds of them getting a real franchise-changing quarterback that much more difficult. Like, it's all of that. And of course, now in week 16, unfortunately, instead of having a game, let's say, against the Indianapolis Colts now or against the Tennessee Titans now, who already beat them earlier in the year, the Bears get to take on the team that at the moment of this recording would be the holders of the number 1 overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. The winners of the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes would be none other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, this is just cruel, sick, twisted fate. Like, the Bears, for all intents and purposes, lose one of these next 2 games and their season's done. As it should be, as it needs to be, folks. But instead, now you're sitting right at 7-7, just like a mediocre-ass team would, thinking that you've got an easy victory coming up against the Jags, and then you go play Green Bay in Week 17, and anything can happen. Oh, my God. Like, this is going to be a miserable viewing experience again this week, just like watching the Vikings game last week was. And for those of you that will sit there and say, how could you not be happy that your team is winning, or how could you not root for your team? I'm not trying to root for 8-8 garbage. Like, you guys might be okay with that. I am not. I've wasted enough of my years of my life as a Bears fan watching that type of stupid shit. I'm over it. Like, either be incredibly bad so we can either make fun of you, or you can get in a position to really change the franchise, his trajectory in a hurry, or be a championship contender. And because the Bears are so stupid, they're neither. They're in that land of irrelevancy. The worst place you could possibly be. Just middle of the road, average. Like, if the season ended already, the Bears would have the 16th pick in the draft. Middle of round 1. Like, I could go on and on and on. And, of course, now they're facing a Jags team that doesn't matter if it was a Gardner Minshew starting or a Mike Glennon starting or a Jake Luton starting. Like, their quarterbacks stink. Looks like they won't have James Robinson at running back this week, is at least my understanding. Now, mind you, I'm also recording this late Wednesday night because I want to get this stuff done before Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so that way they could be uploaded and I don't have to do anything. I take a couple of days of not having to record anything, which probably is beneficial to all of you, I suppose. But, the matchup doesn't look good. The Jags offense stinks. The Jags defense stinks. The Bears offensively the past few weeks have done a much, much better job with Bill Lazor structuring the game plan, calling the plays, of masking Mitch's deficiencies and putting him in better situations to succeed, getting him on the move more, getting a lot more of quick read, one decision and throw type of plays into the passing game. And that's exactly what the hell they should have been doing all along with this guy, because he can't see the field. He doesn't have pocket presence. Like, if anything, it's just another indictment on why Matt Nagy should be fired. Not only did he make the switch from Trubisky to Foles that blew up in the organization's face, you could see the difference in the play calling and the strategy and the execution, and you could sit there and say to yourself, like, so your head coach, who was supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, that was supposed to be the offensive genius, was neither. And decisions that he made really hurt this team. And the fact that he was so goddamn stubborn for so stinking long about giving up the play calling when it was clear that it was a major problem. Again, I ask, like, why does he deserve to return? And if your defense is going to be, well, this team hasn't quit on him. Team never quit on Dick Duran, and they fired him. The team still played hard under Lovie Smith, and they fired him. Who gives a crap about effort? Or they played hard. Again, it's that losing Bears football mindset that has led to this organization, this once proud, rich in history and tradition organization, having exactly one Lombardi trophy in Hallis Hall. And damn near surprised to even have that. Of course, that happened 3.5 decades ago. So you look at this matchup here, like, for the Bears offensively, similar type of formula the past couple of weeks. The run blocking has been better up the middle and the inside, and they need to exploit that with David Montgomery. Like, you got to get the ball out of Mitch's hands and, pick and choose your spots on when you want to use him, and let David Montgomery go to work, because he's been going to work lately. And then in the passing game, similar type of strategy until teams are smart enough to just double team or triple team Allen Robinson every play like the hell they should. Then go to him a lot. And then figure out ways to manufacture touches for Darnell Mooney in the passing game. It's really not that hard. Give Trubisky a lot of plays that are designed for him to make one read and make a quick decision. And then that's it. Get him on the move. Like, we've seen that in the past couple of weeks. So offensively for the Bears, the game plan should absolutely positively be more of the same. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. And at this point, what they're doing is at least working. Unfortunately, you can't really say that about the Bears' defense, because absolutely the crap they're doing isn't working. Like, it takes a special level of suck, to take arguably the best defense in the league 2 years ago and make them an average pedestrian-looking unit. Especially when you consider the amount of cap space and draft pick capital and premium picks that have been invested on that defense, that have given you real legit, like, top-of-the-line players at their position in the league, like Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack and Roquan Smith and Kyle Fuller and Eddie Jackson. Imagine thinking to yourself, you've got those guys, all legit Pro Bowl level talents on that defense. That's damn near half your starters. And then you invested big money in Robert Quinn to bring him into a defensive system that he does not fit, because you're Ryan Pace and you're a moron. And imagine having a pedestrian middle-of-the-road defense. And lately, that's exactly what this defense has been doing. And you can sit there and blame the Jalen Johnson injury and the Deion Bush injury and Buster Screen injury for those guys being out. But you still have plenty of other stars on your defense. It's not like those guys that you were without were the 3 best players on your defense. Anything but. So you can't really use that excuse. And the one thing, if you're a Bears fan that actually wants this team to win on Sunday, that should concern you is, the Jags could sit there and put up some points on them, because the Bears' defense has been that bad. Now, the Jags' defense stinks, and the Bears could certainly put up some points on them, and I expect them to. But this is not a game that you can sit there and just feel super confident about if you're a Bears fan. You should not feel super confident about, Because historically, this would be exactly the type of game that this team would lose. They would take it for granted. They would think it was in the bag, start looking ahead to Green Bay in week 17 and think that they've already got it. And they're going to sit there and focus on that one because that's for the whole shebang-a-bang for them getting in the playoffs or not. And then they'll go out there and they'll let Gardner Minshew have a fantastic game and make a career off of him in that one performance. Like, that's exactly the type of crap that the Bears would do. Now, realistically, I don't expect that to happen. The Bears are 7-point favorites here, and admittedly, they should be. Because while the Bears aren't very good, the Jaguars absolutely suck, let's be clear. So, unfortunately, we're probably looking at a scenario, a situation, where the Bears go into week 17, and for all intents and purposes, they have a chance to get in the playoffs if they beat the Green Bay Packers, which is the ultimate doomsday nightmare scenario. It's 2013 all over again. So, yeah, I'm picking the Bears to beat the Jags on Sunday. I'm thinking something like 30-17, something along those lines. 30-20, probably more realistically, because I got to remember, the Bears defense is playing really, really badly right now. Hashtag fire Chuck Pagano, no matter what. But yeah, I think the Bears are going to win this week. The Bears will win this week. You're asking, why are you winking, Jeff? Is your twitchy eye crap starting up again? Maybe. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm applying a different approach this week. I'm taking a different tack this week. Do I really think the Bears are going to win this game? Or am I trying to put the old Jeff jinx on them? I wonder. Don't you? I guess we'll see what happens on Sunday.